All right. Ready to dive into something super practical?
I'm all ears.
Let's talk about how to start conversations in English.
Especially if it's not your first language.
Exactly. We're going deep on this guide called English for Beginners, Building Your First Conversations. I think you'll find it's more than just basic stuff.
You know, it's funny. Even though we're focusing on English, so much of this applies to any language.
Sure.
That initial connection when you start a conversation,
Yeah,
it's universal.
totally. But the guide starts with greetings.
Greetings.
Is there more to it than just saying hello?
Oh, there really is.
Okay, like what?
Think about context.
Uh-huh.
You know, like good morning at a job interview.
Right.
That feels different than a hey with a friend.
Yeah.
Even a simple hello can change, you know?
How so?
Your tone, a smile, it all makes a difference.
So even the basics have all these subtle layers to them.
Exactly. It's like, how are you?
Oh, yeah, good point.
In some cultures, you're expected to really answer. While in others, it's just a polite way to open things up.
It's true. So, okay, you've done the greeting. What's next?
What's next?
Our guide suggests keeping things moving with simple questions.
Simple questions.
Names, where you're from, what you do.
I see.
But are those questions just for small talk?
Well, they might seem basic, but
Yeah.
think of them as building blocks.
Filter blocks.
You're gathering information,
Right.
finding common ground,
I see.
maybe even steering the conversation to something, you know,
More interesting.
more interesting.
That makes sense. But I can imagine some questions,
Oh, yeah?
like asking someone's age directly, it could come off a little strong.
It depends on the culture, you're right.
Right.
Maybe in a casual setting with someone your age, it's fine.
Yeah.
But in a professional context, be careful.
So even when you're just starting with a new language,
Yeah,
you still have to, read the room.
absolutely. And then comes the hard part for some.
What's that?
Talk about yourself.
Oh, talking about yourself.
I see so many learners overthink this.
Really?
Oh, yeah. But the guide keeps it simple. My name is,
Uh-huh.
I'm from, I like her.
Why does that work, do you think?
It's about finding that balance. Balance.
Guess.
Giving information, but not too much.
Right.
Plus, it builds your own confidence, you know?
How so?
You're putting yourself out there,
Yeah.
even in small ways.
You're building your voice, literally.
Exactly.
Sentence by sentence.
And speaking of making a good impression,
Yeah.
the guide really pushes those polite phrases.
Like,
You know, please, thank you, that kind of thing.
right, the basics.
But think about how those words actually work.
Okay.
Please turns a demand into a request. And thank you shows appreciation.
It does.
They just smooth things out, you know?
It's like they add a layer of what?
Respect.
Yeah.
Consideration.
Consideration, exactly, to everything you say.
But is it really enough to just say the words? That's where the nonverbal communication comes in.
Uh-huh.
Even a thank you is different with eye contact.
I see.
A genuine smile. It all works together.
So you're saying it's a combination?
Yeah,
Words and body language.
absolutely. It shows you're not just reciting phrases. You're genuinely engaged.
That makes sense. The guide also stresses keeping things simple.
Oh, especially as a beginner.
Right, when you're starting out.
Even gives an example,
Give me an example.
saying, I've been to a few countries,
Uh-huh.
instead of some long, complicated, about all your travels.
Why is that, do you think?
Clarity over complexity.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially in a new language.
It's tempting to try and sound super fluent,
It is.
but then the message gets lost
Yeah.
if it's too much,
Too much.
too complicated.
Like we said before, building blocks.
Prolonged plot.
Master the simple stuff first,
Okay,
then add complexity.
I like it. And speaking of building,
Yeah.
this next section in the guide, fascinating.
It is.
The guide dives into body language.
Body language.
I never realized how much we communicate without speaking.
Right. It's a whole other language.
The guide mentions smiling, making eye contact,
Yeah.
using gestures. But how much of that translates?
Across culture.
Your cross cultures, yeah.
That's where it gets tricky.
Okay.
A gesture that's friendly in one culture,
Yeah.
offensive in another.
Wow.
So observation is key. Watch native speakers.
Oh, interesting.
How do they use their body language?
Yeah.
It gives you clues.
So learning a language isn't just the words.
Nope.
It's these unspoken cues, too.
You got it. Think of it like being a detective.
A detective, haha.
A cultural detective?
I like that.
You're gathering information.
Right.
Not just from words,
Yeah.
but from how people act.
It's a whole other level. Now, the guide also talks about small talk.
Small.
Those little conversations.
Right.
About the weather.
The weather. Yeah.
That you did on the weekend.
Uh-huh.
But why is that so important?
People underestimate small talk. It's low-pressure practice.
Oh, I see.
Warming up those language skills.
Right.
Getting comfortable with the rhythm of conversation.
It's like a stepping stone.
To deeper conversations, exactly.
Plus, you never know where small talk might lead.
You don't.
You could discover a shared interest.
Make a new friend, even.
It's all about those initial connections.
That's it.
All right, so we've covered greetings, asking questions,
yes,
talking about yourself, even the power of small talk. What else?
Well, this part is crucial. Practice.
Practice.
It solidifies everything.
Like working a muscle.
Exactly. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
And the brain's like a muscle too, right?
When it comes to language, yes.
So the more you expose yourself to English, the more natural it becomes.
Absolutely. But it's not just about quantity. It's quality, too. The guide talks about making practice fun.
So you don't get bored.
Engaging, so you don't get discouraged.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways to make practice more enjoyable?
Well, the guide suggests finding a language partner. Have regular conversations.
Okay, that makes sense.
Join a conversation group. Even just talking to yourself out loud can be helpful.
Talking to yourself?
Believe it or not, it is.
Okay, but how?
It helps you get comfortable forming sentences, expressing your thoughts without the pressure of an audience.
So it's low-stakes practice?
Exactly. And the guide also suggests, incorporating English into your daily life.
Oh, outside of structured practice.
Outside of structured practice, right. Like listening to English podcasts.
Like this one.
Exactly. Watching movies or TV shows, even reading books or articles.
So it's about immersing yourself.
As much as possible, yeah. The more you surround yourself with English, the more natural it will become.
This has been so helpful.
I've had to hear it.
It's like the guide has given us a whole toolkit.
A toolkit.
For not just starting conversations, but becoming more confident communicators.
I like that.
But before we wrap up,
yes.
Anything else the guide highlights?
There's one more important point.
Let's hear it.
The guide talks about the power of mindset.
Mindset.
It emphasizes approaching language learning with a positive attitude.
Okay.
A belief that you can succeed.
So it's not just about learning the language, it's about believing in yourself too.
Exactly. The guide encourages learners to visualize. Visualize themselves starting conversations, speaking fluently, achieving their goals.
That's powerful.
It is.
I imagine that kind of positive self-talk.
Yeah.
It can really make a difference.
It can.
When you believe in yourself, you're more likely to take risks.
To persevere through challenges.
And achieve your goals.
Absolutely.
This has been such an insightful deep dive.
It has.
We've covered so much.
We have.
From the nuances of greetings, to the importance of body language, to the power of practice.
And positive thinking.
It's amazing how much depth there is to something seemingly simple. Like starting a conversation.
It really is.
But I feel like we've only scratched the surface.
Just the beginning.
What are some of the key takeaways?
What do we want our listeners to walk away with?
Today?
Well, first and foremost. Remember, everyone starts somewhere.
Everyone starts somewhere.
Don't be afraid to be a beginner.
Right.
To make mistakes and to learn from them.
That's such an important point. So many learners, they get hung up on being perfect.
They do.
And it holds them back.
From
actually using the language.
Embrace those stumbles.
Stumbles, okay.
They're proof that you're learning and growing.
Love it.
And remember, communication is the goal.
Not perfection.
Not perfection.
So focus on getting your message across.
Yeah.
Even if it's not grammatically perfect.
Right.
Or you have to pause to find the right word.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask for help or clarification. Most people are happy to help.
They are.
And it shows that you're engaged, eager to learn.
That's a great reminder. And what about practice?
Practice.
We've talked about it a lot.
We have.
But concrete steps.
What can our listeners do to make practice a regular thing?
In their routine.
Find a language partner. Join a conversation group.
Right.
Listen to English podcasts.
Like this one.
Exactly. Watch movies, TV shows.
Okay.
There are so many options.
There are.
The key is to find something you enjoy.
Yeah.
And make it a habit.
It's about consistency, not intensity.
You got it. And finally, cultivate a positive mindset.
Positive mindset, right.
Believe in your ability to learn and speak English.
Yeah.
Fluently. Visualize yourself succeeding.
Yeah.
Don't let fear hold you back.
That's such an inspiring message. I think it's a perfect note to end on.
I agree. And remember, we're here to support you.
Absolutely. Now, before we officially wrap up this deep dive,
Yes.
I want to give our listeners a little something to think about
A little food for thought.
as they continue their journey. Expert, what's one final thought?
One final thought. Think about those simple questions we talked about.
Like, what's your name?
Yeah, what's your name? Where are you from?
Mm-hmm.
Those aren't just conversation starters.
What are they then?
They're opportunities.
Opportunities for what?
Opportunities to go deeper.
Oh, I see.
Like someone says they're from, I don't know,
Yeah.
a certain city.
Right.
Instead of just, oh, cool.
Yeah.
You could ask, what's it like living there?
Mhm.
Boom, you've opened the door.
To a more interesting conversation.
A more engaging conversation, yeah.
So it's like taking those basic building blocks
Building blocks, yeah.
and using them to create something more
More meaningful.
meaningful. Exactly.
And that's where your own curiosity comes in.
Oh, okay.
Be genuinely interested in the person.
Right.
Ask follow-up questions.
Okay.
And let the conversation just
Flow.
flow naturally.
That's such a good reminder. It's so easy to get caught up
Yeah.
in like the mechanics
The rule.
of the language, but it's really about connection, isn't it?
It is. And when you approach it like that,
Yeah.
the fear melts away
I like that.
and you can actually enjoy it.
Enjoy the process.
The process of learning, connecting.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive.
It has, hasn't it?
We've unpacked the guide, but also uncovered like
Yeah.
really valuable insights
Insights about
communication
communication in general.
in general. Yeah.
I agree. It's amazing what we can learn.
From something so simple. Simple like,
Starting a conversation.
right.
So for our listeners out there
Yes.
who are ready to level up their English conversations,
Level up. I like that.
what's one small step?
One small step they can take today.
Today.
I would say think about a situation
A situation,
where you'd like to feel more confident
confident speaking English?
speaking English, right?
Like what?
Maybe it's ordering a coffee,
Okay.
asking for directions,
Or-
even chatting with a colleague.
At work.
Now write down a phrase or two
A phrase or two. For what?
that you could use in that situation.
Oh, okay.
So you're equipping yourself,
With the tools you need.
the language tools
Huh?
for that specific interaction.
The little cheat sheet.
A cheat sheet, I like that.
For success.
And even better,
What's even better?
practice those phrases out loud.
Out loud by yourself.
Might feel silly, but it helps.
How so?
It boosts your confidence.
For when you encounter that situation in real life. Exactly.
Yeah.
And remember,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
The
Right.
tree is to take action.
Action.
Start using the language. The more you do it,
Yeah.
the more confident and natural you'll become.
Well, I don't know about you,
Yeah.
but I'm feeling inspired
Inspired to.
to go out there and practice my English.
Me too.
It's a reminder that,
What's it a reminder of?
language learning is a journey,
It is. It is.
not a destination.
And every conversation
Yeah.
is a chance to learn and grow.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Our pleasure.
We hope you've enjoyed exploring English for beginners, building your first conversations
Such a great resource.
with us.
And remember, keep practicing.
Keep learning.
And most importantly,
What?
keep having fun with it.
Until next time, happy speaking.
One final thought? Think back to those simple questions.
The ones we talked about earlier.
Yeah, like, what's your name? Or,
You from?
exactly. Those aren't just conversation starters.
Okay. What are they then?
They're opportunities
Opportunities.
to go deeper.
I see.
Say someone tells you they're from, I don't know, Chicago.
Okay, Chicago.
Instead of just saying, oh, cool,
Right.
you could ask, what's it like living there?
Mm.
You've just opened up the conversation.
To something more interesting.
More engaging, yeah.
So you're saying take those basic building blocks
Building blocks, yeah.
and build something more meaningful with them.
Exactly. And that's where your own curiosity comes in.
How so?
Be genuinely interested in the person you're talking to.
Okay.
Ask follow-up questions. Let the conversation go where it wants to go.
Just flow naturally.
Exactly.
That's a great reminder. It's so easy to get caught up in the mechanics of it all.
It is.
Really, conversation is about connection, right?
It is. And you know what? When you approach it like that,
Yeah.
the fear melts away.
Yeah.
You actually start to enjoy yourself.
I love that.
Enjoy the process of learning, of connecting.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive.
It really has.
I feel like we've gone beyond just the guide
Beyond the guide, yeah.
and discovered some really important things about communication in general.
You're right. It's amazing what we can learn from something as basic as.
Starting a conversation.
Exactly.
So for those listening who are ready to take their English conversations to the next level,
Next level, I like that.
what's one small step they can take today?
One small step. Okay, think about a specific situation
A situation. Okay.
where you'd like to feel more confident speaking English.
Like what?
Ordering a coffee, maybe.
Ordering coffee. Okay.
Asking for directions.
Right.
Or just chatting with a colleague.
Got it.
Now, write down a phrase or two
Phrases for
that specific situation.
Oh, so you're prepared.
You're giving yourself the tools you need just for that interaction.
Like a little cheat sheet.
A cheat sheet, I like that.
For success.
Exactly. And you know what's even better?
That's that.
Practice those phrases out loud.
By yourself.
Yeah. Might feel silly, but it really does boost your confidence.
For when you actually encounter that situation.
In real life. Yeah.
I see. I see.
And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect.
It doesn't.
Nope. Just start using language. The more you do it,
Yeah.
the more confident, the more natural it'll become.
That's great advice. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty inspired.
Me too. It's a good reminder that
That what?
that language learning, it's a journey. It's not about reaching some finish line.
Right, right.
Every conversation, it's a chance to learn and grow.
Well said.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you enjoyed exploring English for Beginners, building your first conversations with us.
It's a fantastic resource.
Until next time, happy speaking.